Welcome to the First Look Seminar. Gino, we've got a giant weekend ahead of us here at Santa Anita Park. We're going to go over the Pick Six here in a moment, but plenty of things to look forward to Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at the Great Race Place.
Yeah, we have two graded stakes races on Saturday. We have a Pick Six guarantee that if you're the only winning ticket, you'll get $1 million. That is also on Sunday. Sunday, there are 5 Calbred stakes races on the card. Monday, they've saved the grade ones for Monday with the mandatory payout. So 3 grade ones on Monday, mandatory payout in the Rainbow Pick Six. Those pick'em contests, the Saturday ones are already up. You can get entered in that one right now. Totally free to enter. Pick'em.santanita.com. And then, Chappie, you know more details about the poker tournament on Monday night. Why don't you tell us about that one?
Well, first of all, on Sunday, too, we've got the ever popular Corgi races. So we are going to be jam-packed. I know the sales are through the roof on that. So as Skip can attest to, that's one of the best times at the track. So we get huge crowds. And then Monday, right after the races, we have the Folds of Honor tournament and poker tournament. Here's the $300 to enter, and that includes food, open bar. It all goes to a great cause for the families of fallen veterans and or first responders. And Skip, one of the best times of the year at the track with the Folds of Honor poker tournament.
Yeah, we had such a good time there last year. I actually ended up bidding on a Marcus Allen signed football and got it. So I was very happy about that. And, you know, it's such a great day at the races with the grade ones and, Memorial Day. And then after the races, we got the poker tournament. So we got a long day ahead of us and a long weekend. I'm looking forward to it. The weather's a little crazy right now. It doesn't feel like it's Memorial Weekend, but I like the cooler temperatures, and I'm ready to gamble this weekend.
Yeah, it should be a terrific weekend of gambling and a little poker tournament to end the weekend. I know Dave Dreamweaver did not attend last year, but he won the tournament 2 years ago, and he will be back. He's been wearing his bracelet all week. He's very proud of that thing. So we got to take him down, Skip. Gino, I hope you can get out here. It's for a great cause, and it's a lot of fun.
The one thing, Dave is great in tournament settings because he's either all in or all out quickly.
Yeah.
The way he plays is very good for tournaments, for contests, for things like that. Because Dave, if somebody gives Dave $20, he goes and bets it on an exacta in the next race. He doesn't save $1 for food, nothing. He doesn't care. If you give him 20 or 2,000, it's the same thing. He'll go walk right up and bet an exacta with whoever he likes ice cold, and he'll try to turn that into more. So if it's a good day for him, it's great. If it's not, he'll quickly be done and then asking for some leftovers. Whoever's got some scraps.
Yeah, Gino, it's funny you said that because I remember one time in the Logan, he says, "Hey, Skip, you got a voucher?" And I said, "Yeah." I gave him like a $550 voucher. He came back, it was 0.
Yep.
And we missed everything. I said, "What happened to the voucher?" "Hey, we got big shots going." I'm like, "All right, well, let's get lucky." 0.
Good old Dave.
That sounds just like Dave Weaver. So, hopefully we can take him down, Skip. And no matter what, it's going to be a terrific weekend. And there's plenty to look forward to make some money, too. So we're going to concentrate now on Saturday's Pick Six. Like Gino said, if any one ticket, a single ticket winner on Saturday or Sunday hits it, it's $1 million guarantee. Then if not, Sunday, it's all going out, mandatory payouts. Let's get her started, gentlemen. 9-race card tomorrow, Saturday. So we're going to go to race 4 to start the Pick Six. We're looking at 6.5 furlongs, claimers on the turf. Skipper, what are you looking at here in leg 1?
You know, I like a horse a lot in here. I like the 6 horse, Chaos Theory. Finally getting this horse back to a realistic spot again. They claimed it for 25 back at Del Mar in September of 22. They brought it back in November of 22 when it won nicely. Then they shipped it here for the big meet at Santa Anita on January 22nd. And I love the way that it won that day. It was breaking from the outside like he is today, and just sat there closer. And, you know, the thing with him, he used to be like a late running sprinter. And now he's shown some speed. Pipey's got a little speed. And even before Pipey claimed it, he started showing a little more speed. So he could sit up close to the pace because there's not a lot of pace in here. And I'm sure Gina will bring that up. It looks like Took Charge is the only speed, but I think Chaos Theory could sit right outside of him. And just with the drop in class, that last race was a salty race. That was a tough race. I watched the replay a couple times. It was out wide and didn't run bad. It just I think was outclassed. They put it in the realistic spot here for which they claimed it for, and I think it will be very, very tough in this spot. I'll probably single here. The only other one that I might use is the 4 dropping down in class 2. We mentioned this horse, way back in 21. We thought this horse would like coming down the hill. I know this isn't coming down the hill, but we had it that day. That horse might be another one on a different ticket I'll use, but I'm going to probably single Chaos Theory.
Yeah, Chaos Theory was my top pick as well, and like you said, has won twice in a row impressively.
Can I be devil's advocate real quick?
Yeah.
He's never won a race over 5.5. Is he just one of those horses that loves 5 and 5.5 and gives you that really short burst? I'm not sure, because if you look through his entire past performance running lines, he's never won a race at 6 furlongs or at 6.5 furlongs. I just thought that was at least worth mentioning for a horse who's going to be the heavy favorite in here and he's not going to be on the lead. It's probably a better way of putting it.
And the only thing I would say back that, which could be, is he's raced against much better than the one time at the $32,000 level, which is similar. That was off of a layoff. So I think probably this is just the level he fits at.
Yeah.
But you could be right.
The level is way
8
better.
years old. So
yeah, the level is way better. This is no doubt a class drop. I'm just wondering, is 6.5 is a little different than 5.5 too, right? That's a good furlong difference. This isn't the downhill, so it's not quite doesn't play as a route quite as much. The 2 for me that will for sure be in the mix, Took Charge, just because there's so many versions of this race where he's just gone.
Yep.
And nobody else pushes him. I think if I'm playing a pick 6, I definitely wanted him in the mix right off the bat, because turning for home, if he has a length or 2, I'm going to be a little bit nervous. The other one is a horse who actually I think could kind of sit a little close, and I like the cutback here is Air. The 2, those races at Turf Paradise, this horse might get dismissed because of them. They're not bad, and those are races that a lot of the connections in Southern California have been using when some races out here don't fill, or just it's kind of one of the easier places to ship back and forth. So those levels have become decent. I'm going to make sure that Air and Took Charge are in the mix for me.
Yeah, I agree. And like Skip said, the only other one, I mean, it Took Charge could be long gone, could be lone speed. Looks like the 6 could get the trip. Like Skip mentioned, Embry is the one you just don't know about, right? The drop. I don't know about you guys. I talked about this yesterday when I did a podcast. Peter Miller's a guy I can never be on the right side of. Maybe because we rely heavily also on workouts, and all of his works are at San Luis Rey. So you don't get any opportunity to see any of his horses. So,
that's funny you said that. That's one thing that does make me a little bit nervous was Chaos Theory. It ran April 2nd, came back and worked April 27th. And then doesn't work again till May 19th. That was a little worrisome for me, but I know Pipey, and he's got this horse ready to go. And I love the outside draw, and I don't think the 6.5 will be a problem. I see what Gino's saying, but that race back on the 22nd of January, that could have been 7 furlongs. That horse, I think this is a right class level, and I just think with the outside draw, sitting outside Took Charge, Chaos Theory would be tough, but.
All right, well, let's move on to the second leg of the pick 6. We're going 5.5 furlongs, $12,500 claimers. And Gino, is Lunatic a single here, or are you Spreadsville in leg 2?
No, I think I'm going to use one more, though. The 2, along with Lunatic, Tropicana Girl. So she exits 2 races at Los Alamitos, those 1,000-yard quarter horse races. I've mentioned them many times. The trainers will use those a lot as like a fitness race. Sometimes the races here don't fill, and it's a great spot because you get your horse protected. You don't have to worry about losing them there. They can go run, pick up a check, get some speed in them. And if you look at Tropicana Girl, she won a 1,000-yard quarter horse race at Los Al, came to Santa Anita, and won basically at this level, at the $10,000 claiming level, going 6 furlongs, which is probably even a little bit farther, because you start diving into her form. The races where she goes a mile, they're a little too far. You can eliminate them towards the bottom of her races. And now all of a sudden, this horse makes a lot of sense. So she wins, and in the race she wins at Santa Anita, she beats 2 horses that come back to win their next race, Bella Ranella and Rain Diva. Well, it's funny, Bella Ranella beat Vegan. Vegan's a shorter price than Tropicana Girl. Bella Ranella
was 3 to 5 in that race to boot. So,
and Bella Ranella also beat Talkative Gal, who's a shorter price than Tropicana Girl. So again, if we just didn't see those 2 Los Alamitos races as the last 2 races on the form, why would this horse be bigger prices than those other 2? When she beat the horses that just came back and beat them. She can sit off the pace a little bit. She has speed. And in the recent races at Los Alamitos, she ran into really sharp horses. Go look up Trouble in Paradise and El Diablo Rojo. They're just like win machines over there. They just keep racking up really good efforts. I think it's a nice spot for Tropicana Girl. I'm going to use 2-7.
Yeah, and I think the other horse that makes sense. And Lunatic, look, last time out, they found a great spot off an 11-month layoff. They could go in there, have a free roll, not in for the tag. JJ Hernandez signs aboard. They win. This horse loves the distance. Looks like a good spot again. Once again, Peter Miller. The other horse I looked at a little bit, Skip, other than the 2 we talked about so far, is Talkative Gal, going from the rail to the outside. I think that horse makes some sense. Knapp's had a sneaky better year than it looks on paper. He's had a lot of seconds and thirds, a lot of tough beats. So I think the 8% is a little bit deceptive in there, Skip.
I agree. And, I'm definitely – Lunatic's a horse to beat and probably will win. But I'm going to use Talkative Gal, and I'm going to use Big Bell, and now Gino talked me on to Tropicana Girl. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 7, 8. Just maybe Lunatic stumbles, or there is other speed in here. I know, she's the class of the race and the best horse in the race. But a couple of these Los Al horses, they're going to be shoving with these Los Al riders. They're going to be doing whatever they can to get to the front or be close to the front. And if they do, maybe that makes Lunatic a little vulnerable, and maybe Talkative Gal, should get a great trip. You mentioned the rail. It's been on the rail 3 out of the last 4 times, and the time it was on the 2-hole. So that horse should get a great trip with Steve Knapp, like you said. Big Bell was off slow last time. It doesn't really look like it. It came running. That race was better than it looked, I think. I don't like the rail, but I definitely will use that one too. So 1, 2, 7, 8 for me.
Yeah, I was 2, 7, 8. I'll give the 1 a look. I went back and watched that Tropicana Girl race, and that was the one in Santa Anita. I thought you were right, Gino. It's had a perfect trip. Like I said, both horses, second and third, came back to win, and the horse who ran second was 3 to 5 in there. So that's an interesting one. And now we all said that Lunatic will win by 5 at 3 to 5. So.
Well, so Chappie, I know you had done a podcast earlier, and you've already looked at these races. So let me play host for a second as we move to race number 6 at Santa Anita. Let's put you on the hot seat to start. Who are you going to start with in race number 6?
So I'm not going to use Flying Drummer. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, me neither.
I think this is, and I wrote at the top, I think this is one of the more difficult races on the card. But I think there's some interesting horses in here. I'll be spreading a little bit. My top pick was actually the 2 Motown Music. I think the last time they found a good spot over, almost a year layoff, another spot that was protected. That horse ran, once it switched leads mid-stretch, it kind of broke. They were 7 clear of the 3rd place finisher. I think that horse moves up. I like Maldonado getting on.
Our buddy, the Sniper, was a big fan of that horse this morning on a show that I did. So perhaps great minds will be thinking alike there.
I think Katona, since adding the Lasix and coming back, fits and seems to be getting better.
Probably like the measuring stick for the race, right? You look at if nobody jumps up and these horses don't really improve, if Katona just sort of runs the same kind of race, that's probably going to be really close.
Agreed. And the other horse who to me is very interesting is Phineas, because I think Phineas is very talented. but looks like a very hard horse to ride. If you watch the last 2 races in a row, the horse gets rank, the horse pulls, but the horse can run some. JJ Hernandez leaves to go on Flying Drummer, but I'm not sure. That just might be a Baffert thing. I didn't love the workouts visually from Flying Drummer, so if Flying Drummer wins, I'm out.
Skippy, who are some of the horses on your radar here in the 6th?
This is a tough race to me. I mean, the ones that Chappie mentioned, I'm using the one also 30-1 on the rail, like Santa Anita. I don't know if he's this good, but at 30-1, I don't know what to do in this race. I really don't. I wasn't a big fan of Flying Drummer either. I saw exactly what you saw in the workouts. I don't know.
The one that nobody's mentioned that I'll mention is the 9, Divine Armor, who.
Yes. Oh, no. You're right. I didn't even go to the second page. I will be using Divine Armor. Yes.
This horse had a really tough trip last time out, and it was off of a long layoff. So Divine Armor had not raced from July of last year to May of this year, May 7th. Came off the bench, really good start, but 3 other horses all went to the lead. So backed off a little bit and was sitting like in a perfect spot. If you played this horse, you thought you were getting the most beautiful trip ever. And then Lovesick Blues kind of makes the early move up the outside, and Divine Armor got stuck right in between horses and had absolutely nowhere to go and was pinned in. Lovesick Blues makes the move, gets to the lead. Then Divine Armor has to wait, tip to the outside, and moves around. And it was a really good effort. And even late, this horse kept trying really hard off the bench. That was going 6.5. Now I think stretching out, he could probably be a little more forwardly placed, maybe have some speed sharpened up coming out of that sprint race, dive back into his form before the layoff. Look at some of the races he exits. He's 3rd behind There Goes Harvard, who goes after that race to win back-to-back races, including a grade 1. He loses to American Theorem, multiple graded stakes winner, Ginobili, Laurel River. Like, those are legitimate horses that he had faced through a lot of his career. I think he could be set up for a really nice spot, sort of his pattern coming into this race, second start off the bench. I think I'm going to try to get out of this race short. I might try to use like 7 and 9 and see if I can sneak out with just those 2. Give me a lot of coverage in other spots.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Chad. I wanted to mention the 8 too. See, I'm deep in this and going lighter in other spots. This horse, look at 2 back. I know it's going turf to dirt, but look at Blacker almost wins at 40% when he does so. He raced against Exalted, Hong Kong Harry. I know that was on the turf, but he does have a win on he's got 4 starts on a dirt fast track. He's got 1 win and 1 second. At 15-1, I'm using the 8 too. This is my spread race in here. So
this is one of my spread races as well. I agree. And what we all mentioned and Flying Drummer will go wire to wire, win by 5. I didn't love the works. I'm not using it. All right. There's a couple races coming up that we always talk about pace. Pace makes a race. There's a couple lone speeds that we're going to talk about both. And I'm just going to give the hint that I'm against both of them. So saying that, Gino, we're going to the Daytona, which is down the hill. We all love down the hill races. And Fast Buck looks like a lone speed, Gino. Do you like Fast Buck? What's your thoughts in this race?
What's difficult is he doesn't this is farther than he really wants to go. And the key for him, he has to get sent. He really does have to get sent and clear. If he is close to horses at all, he's not going to win.
Nope.
Like he needs to be loose, get comfortable, and slow down a little bit, and then fight him off. He's good when he can do that. I think they're going to try to get the 7 pretty close in this race. Now, I don't know if he's that fast, but I think with the outside draw, Burning Turf has every opportunity here now for a horse who finally puts a couple starts together. What's sort of difficult from this race from a gambling standpoint is like both of those horses in this race, you just feel like you'd want a little bit more than what you're going to get from a price standpoint. Like Fast Buck, you'd want like 5-1 in a spot like this with him, like loose on the lead or like maybe 7-2-ish, trying to see if he can go. But he's going to be shorter than that. Same thing with Burning Turf. You probably want a little bit more than you're going to get there. This was a race I couldn't really get too creative. I guess if you want to find a price, it would be Indian Peak, who's just going to be more value and has shown that he can be right there with them. But what makes Sammy Run has been very good at 6.5. And the more I started looking at the race, I think I might lean on what makes Sammy Run in this spot and shorten up a little bit here, because I'm going to need some, I think, in the last race and maybe even in the next race. So couldn't get creative, couldn't get too cute. I think by default, I'm sort of on what makes Sammy Run.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do a couple tickets, but if I was singling, I would single what makes Sammy Run in this race. The other two I like are Indian Peak. I mean, you talk about, we always go back. First of all, what makes Sammy Run just beat Air Force Red, who loves down the hill last time out. Indian Peak has ran second down the hill to Barraza, who was a freak at that time, Brickyard Ride when Brickyard Ride was really good, and the Chosen Braun, who never loses. My price horse here is the 2 Lovesick Blues. And if you go back and watch that only race down the hill, that horse had a ton of trouble and then got free laid down on the rail and rallied for 4th. I think that's the sneaky price horse. Fast Buck could be all alone. And I love Fast Buck the last time out, because I knew they would send from the outside. You're right, Gina, it has to go. I think it's too long for Fast Buck. But unless Burn and Turf goes with, Fast Buck might be crawling on the lead. So what are your thoughts, Skip?
You know, I like the 6, the first time starter in the country, the best. That's my top play. Those works are slow, but I love the way that this horse was working. I mean, under a hammer lock, just really never letting the horse run. I like the stride on it. I mean, it's grade 3 placed over there. And the horses that have beat it, you know, Ego came back and won a few times. I mean, those were good races. The horses that it's running against have come back to win. This horse won, 5 at 18 starts. A horse likes to win. I'm using the 6 for sure. Burning Turf ran a sneaky, weird race last time to me. I know it was coming off the break. Was sitting there, kind of gotten a little tight spot, but breaking on that favorable outside draw, which we like coming down the hill. And then it just, it ran like a short horse to me. Didn't switch leads till late, but once it switched leads, this horse galloped out great. I love the draw again outside. I think it's going to sit right off of Fast Buck. I got to use the 7. What makes Sammy Run? We got to use that. The horse loves coming down the hill. And my other long shot that I'm going to use is the 4. Restrain and Vengeance. Say it, Gino.
Restrain Vengeance.
Okay, I was close.
There you go.
I'm going to use that one too. Disc has back class. Likes to win also. I throw out the race on the dirt. This horse is, I think, better on the turf. At 12-1, I'm going to use that one too. I'm using 4, 5, 6, 7 in this race.
Well, it's interesting because we'll see. I did not like the works of the 6 on XBTV. So sometimes you see it differently, right?
Right.
I put works okay, dirt work, turf horse. So maybe it makes a difference, but I'm not going to use that horse. But
that last work on the 24th on the training track, the jocks just held it.
I only watched one of the works, and I don't know which one it was because I didn't write it down. Okay. Because I didn't care for it, so I didn't go on to the next one. You know what I mean? So
I got you.
Maybe I'll go back and give it a second look.
Watch the work on the 24th. The horse just has a nice stride. They never let it. I mean, the jock he just had its reins just tied. He never let the horse run at all. And I know the time is slow, but I like the way that it did it. I don't know. I think that horse is sneaky at 8-1. That's my top play.
Okay. All right. We move on to the 7 furlong Triple Bend, and talk about a horse that could very well be Lone Speed is Forbidden Kingdom. And
I don't know. I think the spirit of McKenna actually broke on top of him last time out and chose to sat. I think he can keep him honest. I think he's pretty. That's like a legitimate horse. I think he can just do what they.
I love Spirit of McKenna. I don't like Forbidden Kingdom at all.
No, and I just don't think, and because it's the way that I'm sort of. I think if you're looking for a price, you can maybe say that Spirit of McKenna gets a little caught up with Forbidden Kingdom.
Could
and
be.
Maybe even a horse like Midnight Mammoth, who has to send really hard from the rail. That's how I was trying to find a price if you do. Because I do think Spirit of Makena, if he can just sit off a little bit, he's a really nice horse. Another small thing to mention about both Spirit of Makena and Forbidden Kingdom, they both missed a little bit of training time with small foot issues because they missed one of the other prep races that they would have run in between. So you have the two short prices that maybe you're both not 100% or, completely fit because they missed a little time. The horse that I thought was really interesting in here is Positivity, the number 3. So just completely eliminate his Dubai trip. He goes to Dubai last year. O'Neill's been doing this where he sends a string over there and then just keeps him out there and runs a few times. And the horse didn't run that well. Okay. He ran in a couple of graded stakes races, just didn't fire. Let's look at everything he did before that. He's finishing second behind Brickyard Ride, who he's lost to twice. It looks like it's a Calbred race. It is, but Brickyard Ride is a multiple graded stakes winner against Open Company. It's not like he's just a Calbred. Prior to that, Principe Carlo, who is multiple graded stakes placed against Open Company. So those Calbred races are very good. If he gets right back to what he was doing in the Cal Cup Sprint, he can really compete with this group. He's got like enough speed to sit. He's proven at Santa Anita. He's proven at 7 furlongs. And now he's going to go second start off that long layoff. He chased Brickyard Ride. He was close up early. He was like in between horses. He was 3 wide. But look at how fast they went. Off of the layoff, he's got to chase sub 44 fractions. That's not easy. And it was a weird race because he backed up. But then late, he started sort of running again. He showed some kind of late energy. He's a little bit sneaky to me. The runner-up in that race named Anarchist went up to Woodbine, won the grade 3 Jacques Cartier with like a 98 Beyer speed figure next time out. That race has come back very, very live. I think if you're trying to find some value in this race, I'm throwing Positivity in the mix.
Well, that's my third choice is Positivity. I think Spirit of Makena is clearly the horse to beat. I think that CZ Rocket has lost probably 2 steps, but fits because this is not the greatest grade 2 in the world. Forbidden Kingdom, by the way, Skip, I'm sure you watched it. The May 15th workout was so puzzling. I think they're trying to get this horse to relax,
right?
And it's clearly a runoff and got absolutely dusted in the workout by just a random. I can't remember the name. I didn't even write it down. This horse, they just have to let it go. And if he gets headed, he quits. He could get an easy lead, but there's no way. They keep trying to get him relaxed in the morning. There is no relaxing with Forbidden Kingdom, in my opinion. But
I agree with you that you can't try to take hold of that horse. Just let him go. And I'm not a fan of his either. I love Spirit of Makena in here. That's another
single. Yeah,
I'm singling this one too, and that's why I went a little bit deeper in the other races. I love the work on the 20th. Georgie Papadrodoumo's got this horse to settle. It's got speed where it could go out with Forbidden Kingdom. Like Gino said, it broke on top last time. But in that last work, he just kind of he didn't
ask him at all.
No, and he just kind of angled out and just went right by that other horse. I love the way that it galloped out. This is a real nice horse. Georgie's got a nice one on his hands here. And I'm going to single Spirit of Makena. I just think he's too good. I like this horse a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Everything Gino said about Positivity, I agree with. If you're using a couple horses, that's the sneaky one. The 15-1 is ridiculous on that horse.
Right.
So, all right, we move on to the final leg. An interesting $50,000 maiden claimer here, going a mile. And Skip, what are your I got a feeling we're going to be landing on the same horse here. What do you like here in the 9th?
I'm going to use a couple in here. Actually, more than a couple. I'm not a fan of the 1. I'm not using the 1. If the 1 wins, I lose. I don't like the price at 8-5. I'm singling a couple other short price favorites, so I'm trying to beat that 1. The 2 is going to be on my ticket. Mark Glatt's having a great meet, puts blinkers on. It's coming off a long layoff, but I did like the works. It worked with Arabian Lion.
Yes.
I think it was on the 12th. And Arabian Lion, nice horse. This horse didn't run work bad with it and came back and worked that 102 and one out of the gate. I like that work too. So I got to use the 2. The 3 is my big long shot. This horse ran sneaky. I put Prep, but I love the way that this horse galloped out. It kind of wasn't really off slow, but they took hold of this horse way back. It wasn't even in the picture. And then they started getting after it a little bit on the turn. It made a wide move and came running, and then they shut it down before the wire. But then it galloped out great. I mean, they didn't want to show how good it was going to gallop out. The jock took it out wide and kind of took hold again. 15-1. I don't know. This horse is a must use. I'm going to use the 4 also. This horse is coming off a break too. Vladimir Surin's got this horse. It's bred for the turf. It's bred for distance. First time Lasix. And then the other horse is the 7, Paid in Gold. Those are the ones I'm using. I'm using 2, 3, 4, 7.
So I have the exact horses, except I am going to use the 1. I don't love the 1's replay, and my top pick is the 2, which I knew you were going to say. That's what I was. And the jock switch, the blinkers on, the work with Arabian Lion, and not in for the tag as well, which is very interesting.
Right.
So, Gino, anybody else you thought might sneak up here? I guess
no, they were mentioned the 4s, lone sibling one on the turf, lost to a horse named Vegas Magic. That horse came back to win a grade 2 in the next start following that. So that was a good race. Also on the dirt, we saw Surin win with a big price today. Right?
You liked.
Yeah. Horses like this that are kind of like a little sneaky on paper. He does a good job with those types of horses, right? Yeah. Like the Turo Escalante type horses, like from Luck, the Kanani horses that would have been. Paid in Gold is the other one who I may play a ticket or two where I single this horse. This horse had a good start, was right with the leaders and was in between horses, then took back, was inside, was 4th, and just got stuck in a bad spot. Shuffled back, and it looked like this horse was just kind of done. Like I thought was backing up, was just going to be eased out of it. And then all of a sudden just moves right back into contention and doesn't have a whole lot of room and is shifting around still late and still trying, runs 3rd, just misses 2nd that day with some really good late energy. And in the debut, this horse showed really good speed. I wouldn't be shocked if they got aggressive from the outside because this is probably the fastest horse in here, right? If they want to go.
So. Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping. You could see maybe Whirly Girly has a couple races where they've shown a little speed.
Carey's got
who's got the blinkers on, and they're going to go. But as far as stretching out from sprint races, where this horse was close to the pace in sprint races, because that last race, it doesn't look at all how fast this horse really was. He was right there with everybody else and then took back by choice and then got stuck. So there's a good amount of speed here with Paid in Gold. 2 sprints to a route. I hope they just let her roll and let her loose from the outside. So I'll play 1 where I single the 7, probably another one with 1, 4, 7.
All right. Well, it looks like I think an interesting pick 6 sequence where there's a couple speed horses none of us really love, which are, could possible lone speeds, which is very interesting. A couple short price favorites that I think are vulnerable. I think Skip and I like Spirit of Makena a little bit more than Gino, but I understand what you're saying, Gino.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be too deep there. I'll probably be like the 2 and the 3. Of the 3 short price horses like Forbidden Kingdom, Spirit of Makena, and CZ Rocket, I think that one's way, way better. My only concerns would be the missing a little bit of time, missing that race, and then if he does get caught up, because I absolutely think he can sit. But if Forbidden Kingdom gets a little away and then he tries to move early, or he feels like he's got to be the horse to go after him and soften him up a little bit, that may not matter. That's a really nice horse.
Well, if he does just like he did in the San Carlos, we can just play it all over again and it'll be exactly right? That's the way it plays out in the head, but that doesn't always work on paper. So, all right, gentlemen, appreciate it. We got a long weekend ahead of us. Tomorrow morning, Morning Line Sports Show, 8 o'clock on AM 830. We'll be discussing this and many more, and special guest Eddie Olczyk will be joining us as well, Skip.
Yes, looking forward to that. Edzo's coming on. We finally got him. right before the Stanley Cup Finals, we got Florida Panthers in, and then it looks like Vegas, although Dallas came back and won last night to make it 3-1. I think Vegas closes it out tomorrow back at home. And so I think it's going to be Vegas and Florida, the Golden Knights against the Panthers. And I'm glad to have Edzo on to talk about it. And, horses too, of course. He loves the ponies.
All right, Gino, since we talked with little hockey, 1 minute here from you. Does Boston come back and win from down 3-0?
I don't think so. I think
is Game 6 the deciding game, one way or the other?
Well, I just still don't trust them. They've played really well in the last 2 games, and kind of games where it sounds weird, where there's no pressure when your back's kind of really against the wall like it was. I think they're shooting a little too well. That's my only worry, is if you just look at the numbers, they've been incredible from 3 now in back-to-back games. Usually you're going to just have one game where that dips a little bit. And if they're not hitting 15, 16, 18 threes like they have been, I'm a tad worried. So Gabe Vincent, it's crazy. Where the Miami Heat are right now, Gabe Vincent missing hurt them. They didn't have anybody that could dribble the ball around. You could really see it. They just didn't have like another guard. If he plays, I think it'll help them. I think Miami's going to win this one. I do. I still think they'll get the job done.
You're right. Miami's not deep in there, and they're hurting even a little bit more. But Jimmy Butler's a stone cold killer. That's for sure. So.
And they didn't play the fourth quarter either. This last game, Jimmy Butler. So he's ready to go 48 minutes and leave it all out, so they don't even have to have a Game 7.
I love it.
All right, that's their Game 7.
Yeah.
In Miami, that's going to be their Game 7. They don't want to go back to Boston. And I didn't watch much of the game, but I do know that he sat out a bunch of it. And, that's in the back of their mind. Okay, this one's done. Let's focus on Game 6. Let's close it out. That's our Game 7. Let's do it.
That's right. Well, our Game 7 starts tomorrow in race 4. So Let's get it home, gentlemen. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Appreciate it. By the way, next week, you guys are on your own. I'll be out of town. So there will be a seminar next Friday. To be determined who it is besides Gino and Seminar Skip. All right, boys. Appreciate your time. Thanks. Good luck, everybody.